Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Larry Manz. My guest this evening is Ken Semmelsberger, the athletic director and assistant principal at Port Huron High School. Welcome, Ken. It's been a little while since we've talked.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've had this show. It's nice to be back.
Well, there are a lot of things that have happened this year, and I know that you're pleased with the addition of some sports at the ninth grade level.
Well, it's really been fun this year watching the number of kids that have been involved in the program. In the fall, we had a ninth grade girls basketball, which allowed 15 more girls to play basketball than would normally play because just having a JV program, we used to have 20, 25 girls come out for ninth grade basketball. We used to have to cut 15 or 20 girls. So it's nice to see that that's happened. We were able to keep a lot more girls. Volleyball was another big sport that we added for the girls in ninth grade. We had 80-some candidates for volleyball this year for the ninth grade team.
Well, when you look at the volleyball, with all of the gals coming over from the intermediate,
right.
They had to have some place to go. So that's a great addition.
So we had a ninth grade volleyball team, and we have 15 players. They're doing real well. They're 18-9 right now and having a great time.
How about soccer? That was added?
In the fall, we added soccer for the boys, and it was our first year. We went through some growing pains and have a real successful season as far as wins and losses were concerned. But we had a lot of kids in. We had a varsity and a JV team, which some schools are having trouble fielding a JV team, but we had two teams, JV and varsity. And this year, we kind of had to put a schedule together. As a result, we played some pretty tough teams for a new program. But next year, we're going to be in the league through the Macomb Area Conference, and in fact, I just picked up the schedule yesterday, and it looks good. It looks like we're going to be in a league that we can be competitive in, and hopefully next year will be a little bit better than one-loss record. But
well, when you look at the addition of those sports, we're also talking more participation, which really is the name of the ball game, isn't it? When you think about it.
Yeah, we'd like to get. Well, our goal is to get at least 50% of our kids involved in our athletic program, and we're getting pretty close to that with the addition of these sports teams. We're probably hopefully going to have 700 athletes this year. 7 of our kids involved in the athletic program, and that's about half of our enrollment. So that's what we're looking for, give more activities for kids, have them something to do with their free time.
Well, especially I think at the ninth grade level, where you're introducing these young boys and girls into that program at that level. They've not had that experience before, and we found earlier when we didn't have these programs, these kids were dropping out. If we didn't get them at the ninth grade, we didn't get them at the 10th grade.
Right. Usually what will happen is the kid tries out for a sport and gets cut even at the ninth grade level, and they may have been a player that was close to making the team, but with no ninth grade team, we're not able to keep him on the junior varsity. That student athlete would not come back out for the sport. He or she would find something else to do, and as a result would not come back out for that sport. So hopefully this will allow us to have a more continuous program as far as the numbers of kids involved and keep them going, and hopefully improving all of our programs all the way through the varsity level.
Well, we're halfway through the winter season now, and of course the boys basketball program has been rated in the state, and they've had a couple setbacks, but where do they stand right now?
Right now, as of last night, we won last night, beat Sterling Heights High School, and played real well last night. Currently, we're in second place in our Macomb Area Conference, tied with Sterling Heights Stevenson, who both at 5 and 2, and Chippewa Valley, who we beat last Friday night, is 6 and 1. So we're a game behind. We finished the first round of the league, which we've played all the teams in League once now. So our destiny's in our own hands. If we can win the next, go through the second session undefeated, and we'll win the league, and that's one of our goals. And then the district championship follows that, and then the regionals. Hopefully, we get that far.
When you read these polls, and not only the Times Herald poll, but some of the state polls out of the Free Press and so on, and they rank the team before the season starts, what kind of pressure does that put on the coach and the kids?
Well, I think it puts a lot of pressure in two respects. One, I think sometimes the kids read their own newspaper clippings and think they're a little bit better than maybe they actually are. The other thing is there's a pressure that they put on themselves to perform well. And I think that's what happened to us in a couple ball games. We put some pressure on ourselves to maybe do some things we couldn't do, and to try and do some things we couldn't do. And we kind of had a couple setbacks and didn't play as well as we could in a couple ball games. But the last few games, I think we've really turned it around, and the addition of 2 players who were ineligible first semester have really helped us. And then, like I say, last night against Sterling Heights High and Friday against Chippewa Valley, we played very well. And I think we maybe turned the corner to what we wanted to do. And I know talking to Coach early last night, he does put a whole lot of stock in the polls, and the Times Herald one is nice. And I was talking to a couple of sports writers who are involved in that also last night after our game, and it was a situation where our kids look at it and they want to be number one, but they also know when they lose, hey, you're going to knock down a step. So
well, we've seen this not only this year but in the past where you get a rated team and all of a sudden they sort of fall flat. And the coach has a tremendous job, I think. You said Jim doesn't really put a lot of stock in the polls, but he has to keep those kids up because of the psychology that has to be in place for the 15, 16, 17-year-old young man out there, and plus he's getting pressure from his peers.
Oh yeah, he is, and some of it good-natured ribbing too. But basically, I think it's a situation where the kids at school read it. They are concerned about it a little bit. We try to mention, and that's not a big deal to us, but they read it, and it's important to them. So hopefully after last night's win, and if we can win Friday night, we'll be back up in the #1 spot.
Well, we've often heard also that when you talk about the varsity, and the JVs are playing, and the 9th grade programs are playing, and how do we get that information out as to how well they're doing? We try to get the scores to the papers and the radios, but
yeah, they usually don't cover too much of the junior varsities and freshman scores. They do cover the varsity, I think, fairly well, and do a pretty good job reporting those. But as far as the freshmen and JV are concerned, it's very difficult for them because they're limited in space and time and things. So we do try to notify them. So what we try to do is every day I have a bulletin board outside my office, and we post the scores of the games, the previous night's games on that. Any articles that are in the paper, we put up. And also at announcement time, I will announce every score of every game and the highlights of the game that the coaches give me. So every day I announce that during our announcements time. So we try to get as much publicity and let the kids know what's going on. And like I said, our programs at that level have been successful, and we're very happy with the progress that we've had. So we try to let the kids know and get their names out there as much as we can.
Work through that, eh? Greg Wagner is the coach of the hockey team, and from last year to this year, there's been a great improvement. I think Greg's done a good job with that program. I know that they're in the Michigan Prep League.
Right.
And if I recall, they're about 3rd place in that league.
Right. We're currently 4-3 in the league, and we're, I think, Northern, and last time I looked, Northern and Notre Dame were tied for first, and we're right behind them. And we've played real well. We've knocked off Notre Dame, who was ahead of us in the league, and we're playing at a level right now where I think Greg's finally got the kids to believing in what he's doing, into his system. They're playing much more disciplined hockey. They're not taking as many dumb penalties and things as they were in the past. And he had a couple kids that played in the travel league last year that have come back and played for us, and they've helped us. There's no question about that. And he's getting outstanding goalie play from Derek Klink. So as a result, the team itself is playing much, much better with some confidence. And we play Port Huron Northern on Thursday night this week, and hopefully it's going to be a great game. Northern's a great team. They're well coached. They have some great talent. And but I think our kids are going to be ready and playing tough.
Well, the crosstown rivalries, you can throw the statistics out, as they say, because the emotions get into that too.
Right.
So, but with the onset of the junior high programs in wrestling and some of these other sports, we have a 9th grade wrestling program this year.
Correct.
And how are they doing?
We had more numbers come out this year because of that, and what we've done, again, it's a limited schedule. What's really been nice is there are about 5 or 6 schools that have real good programs that have 9th grade programs, so I was able to pick up 5 or 6 non-league type matches and plus some tournaments for those kids. The big thing with wrestling is getting experience. It's getting on the mat and actually wrestling opponents, and we've worked very hard at that. As a result, we have about 4 freshmen who have moved up to our varsity level very quickly this year and filled in some weight classes where we didn't have anybody else. So as a result of their wrestling, getting some experience at their freshman level, they've been able to move up to the junior varsity and varsity level. So we're very happy with that, and the kids are working hard. And what's nice is the feeder system in the junior highs are giving us 10, 12, 15 wrestlers coming from each school to give us a good nucleus of wrestlers for the freshman program, and then go out to the varsity. Hopefully it'll keep our numbers high, because wrestling in the MAC area is very, very competitive and very good. Both the MAC Red and MAC White are very, very highly respected leagues, and we have to be strong to compete with them.
That's a tough sport, and it really takes a lot of discipline for these young people who haven't had the experience really to come out and have that opportunity and not be successful, and they sort of get discouraged. But the coach Roy Johnson has done a good job in keeping them out there.
Well, Roy's done a real good job, and he's done a lot of things. We have a takedown dinner at the beginning of the year. And he brings in the parents. He brought in a coach from Central Michigan University to speak to the kids and the parents this year. We have taken one of our own shop classes and put together a weight room. We had the kids come in and repaint it and put up a history kind of wrestling at Port Huron High School on the walls in there, and he's going to have a big wrestling.
Well, that little tradition helps getting that well known.
So he's done a real good job. I think it just makes the kids feel pride in themselves. And we have a couple wrestlers that have a shot at going to the States, especially Jim Smedley at 185.
Channel 6 here a couple of weeks ago televised the volleyball team from Port Huron High, and they're doing well. Coach Falk has her girls working real hard.
Right. Currently, we were tied for first place with Utica Ford and with Grosse Pointe North. So they've done a good job. Coach Falk has done a real good job. Matter of fact, today we're having our Teachers Appreciation Day at school, and for the volleyball team, where all the volleyball team have invited their teachers to come to the match tonight and watch them. She's done a real good job of that program. She finished second at a tournament last weekend, and she's going on to compete in the St. Clair tournament this weekend. And she's getting out to more and more tournaments, and as a result, that program's getting stronger. Our junior varsity team is like 18-4 right now, and our freshman team is 18-9. So we've got some good young talent coming up, and plus she's got some young girls on the varsity that are pretty good.
No, that's great. You know, you mentioned a minute ago the MAC League, and you talked about the red and the white division, and there's been a growth in that league itself. And you want to talk about that briefly as to what those changes are and why the difference and why we may be in the red division in one sport and the white division in another?
Basically, the MAC League bases its league divisions on two things. One is the size of the school. Two is the strength of the program that schools have. For example, we are currently the 10th biggest school in the league. So in most sports, if you went to 18 divisions, we would be in the white division based on our size. But for example, in basketball, we're in the red because our program has traditionally been a strong basketball program. In football, we are in the white division because our football program has not been as traditionally strong as our basketball. Volleyball, some of the divisions are 5 teams, some are 6, some are 8.
Yeah, and that's a difference.
Right. It's a lot of what happens is there's a lot of discussion by the athletic directors. We get input from the coaches, input from the principals to look at where teams should be placed, and we try to level that out to where we feel that the kids are going to have the best success. Not necessarily win, but where they can compete at a level that's equal for everybody. So that, and we've looked at that now for the last few years, and we've tried to come up with these solutions. Every year there's different things that come up and look at changes and stuff. But for example, there's a good chance the St. Clair area teams may be joining the league next year.
That was an interesting rumor.
And if they do, in fact, they have applied. And next year I'm going to have to deal with that because I'm going to be president of the league. And so we're looking at the ways to ingrain those 6 teams coming from the St. Clair area league into our league. And putting them in divisions and that kind of thing. So that's going to be interesting in the next year to
see what happens with that. You know, with the Proposal A passing and what's happened with the financing in the schools, that seems to have leveled out, or at least at this point secured some stability in the athletic programs, don't you think?
Yes, I do. Here, well, Port Huron has been one of the districts I think that has been affected positively by the Proposal A because our spending was down. As a result, we've brought our spending level up a little bit closer to what some of the other schools are doing, but it's also brought them down to where we were. So as a result, I think that's really helped us in the Proposal A. It's allowed us to add these other programs to fulfill our programs and to meet at the competitive level that most of the schools that we compete against are at.
Right. But if we could stay at this level now for 3 or 4 years, I think we're going to see the payoff of the additional sports as well as the things that we're doing at the middle school level.
Right. The middle school program, when it started a few years ago, was a great addition. The problem that came with it was that we got to the 9th grade level and there was kind of a void.
No place to go. Sure.
Because only the top players would make it. We wanted to get more kids involved. But now, with the 9th grade program being in there, we got more kids involved. You know, it's tough when you have, for example, at Port Huron High, we get these kids from Chippewa, like 15 girls from Chippewa and 15 girls from Central, come over to trial for volleyball. So you have 30 girls automatically.
30 where do I put them?
Yeah, where do you put them? You can't keep all 30. So as a result, I mean, I'm really happy with that program. And the addition in the spring now, we're going to be adding in girls soccer, and along with the 9th grade baseball and softball and 9th grade track.
I think what we'll do is talk about the spring sports as we move closer to spring. Can't
Right,
get
but
you
that's
back
to
here and
let you know.
talk about those, you know.
But just let you know, it's going to be exciting to see those kids involved.
You know, the Michigan High School Athletic Association for the past few years has really been concerned with sportsmanship. And I know that you were a recipient of the Sportsmanship Award, but where is that program? I know it was a True Value program that they worked with as part of the big companies to move sportsmanship to the forefront in sports.
It's still being worked on through True Value, and there's a sportsmanship award that's given at every level of the state competition. For example, we were fortunate enough to win in the fall. We won the girls basketball district sportsmanship award. Last year, of course, as mentioned, we won the Macomb Area Conference Red Division award for the sportsmanship.
So what are you doing special then, Ken, at your building?
Number one, I think the thing we do is we're constantly talking about it. And we take issue with things. If we see something going on that we feel is the right crowd noises or crowd chants that we feel aren't right, we're going to step in and we're going to be visible, and we're going to say we don't want that to happen. We talk about it at our pep assemblies. Every year I talk about how we act and how we behave ourselves as a spectator, both home and away. And I think it's an attitude that the coaches have.
You know, talking about that, the job that you've done, I think, you know, we could make sure that you got the award every year simply because of the things that you've done. And when I come back and talk with you in the spring,
Okay.
we want to see that another sportsmanship banner on the wall.
Hopefully it'll be there.
Basically, you know, we're talking good sports because they really are the true winners.
Right.
For Sports Talk, my guest, Ken Summelsberger. This is Larry Manz. Good evening.
Okay, we're done.
Worked out well.